right. Well, hi. Um, the name's Sai. I use he, they pronouns, and I am currently a college student who does a lot of things all over the place, a lot of hobbies all over the place. That is the best introduction I can give because um, it's sort of living chaos, if you know what I mean.
Oh,
um,
I know.
yeah, when you have a creative outlet, I guess chaos sort of just follows, and you just roll with it. Um, I I I guess I am a blogger, sort of on hiatus, sort of figuring out how to really relaunch everything because I'm not sort of in the financial position to relaunch a site right now. But when I am, I'm slowly putting in the works for that. Um, right now, the best way I can sum up myself is I am a hardcore supporter for all of my creator friends, uh, including you, because that is what I love to do. Aside from pursuing my own passions, which include a lot of nerdy stuff like research, I love to support my friends and help them grow. So that is what I do. First of all, remind me what the title of the album is.
It's unknown.
Unknown. Okay, we
I,
can work with that.
I've been like going back and forth between a few different names in my head.
Hmm.
Today, no, not today. It was last night. I was laying in bed and I was like, what would be a great like name for this? And I thought the name Out of Pocket was hella like descriptive of it because I'm from the East Coast and the word out of pocket means like um, you're just you're doing the most or it's extra, and that defines literally me, like going to the like largest extent of anything. So I'm kind of in between that and then another name, Chiaroscuro. It's Italian. I probably butchered that for anyone who likes Italian, but it's kind of like a transition of light to dark, and I think that describes my voice, and it also describes what I've been through in life. You know,
Hmm.
really coming from a traumatic past, and really, struggling with anxiety, depression, PTSD, and things like that, and learning how to say, I have to take care of myself, and I have to really, you know, focus on the light, and so I've been going back and forth with those two. I like those
Yeah. First of all, your voice is just so versatile, and I love it.
two.
I just, like when I was listening to the album, and then also, because I've listened to some songs that you put up beforehand, and I was just like, wow, this is like one of the most versatile voices I've ever heard.
Job. That makes me so happy. I don't even know how to respond to that. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm a bit of a vocal nerd. I took 3 years of chorus, and then I like, sometimes my mind just like unconsciously just like over analyzes a lot of like vocal techniques and stuff like that, and I was just like here and there, okay, like and then I was just like, this is the most like unique thing I've heard, so I
Like
love it.
we like I love that because I didn't know that about you. So that's so freaking cool. Um, because I've been a vocal nerd since I was like in the fourth grade. I my mom was a huge fan of Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston, and we would always have to sing like I Still Believe and I
Hmm.
Will Always Love You and Dear Lover by, excuse me, I had coffee, by Tina Marie, and all of these like other like huge singers, and I delved into it as well. And then I want to say around the fifth grade, I started hitting like the high Mariah Carey whistle tones because like she's literally like not human. Like
Hmm.
she's otherworldly. And so I started studying vocals, and I became a nerd in that aspect as well. So that's really cool to know that we connect on that level. That's dope.
Yeah, my biggest inspirations are Adele, Amber Riley, and two more actually, Shoshana Bean and Cynthia Erivo. I just love them all.
I what's your favorite Adele song?
Adele.
Yeah.
Um, it's tied between Million Years Ago and there's another one on the same album. I'm blanking on the name, but it hits deep every time I hear it.
River Lee is a really good one on that
That's
album.
a good one. Um,
Million Years Ago. It's the I've always da 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 da.
yeah,
It's
I love it so much. Let me. I really want to find one song that like is really just like inspired me to like really sing into soul, and I could never for the life of me sing any song that was like written by or sung by um, like a traditional like male identifying person because they always are like in the tenor zone, and I'm like can't do that. So then I found Adele. Oh, Don't You Remember is the other song.
Don't you remember?
Hmm.
I'm
It
not
goes, don't you remember the way that you left me before? That
no,
one.
beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. That one and Million Years Ago are like my kryptonites. Yeah, back to the album. What was it? I think the file was labeled temp bliss. I think that means temporary bliss. Um, the best song is like an intro because like it just like it you know how people say it's like give the best first impression like that's the song. It gives like it introduces everything else in the album, and like it's like one of the like I'm not like exaggerating when I say this is like one of the best produced songs I've ever heard to be like the first song on an album.
Shut
it,
up.
it really just it sets the tone. um and when I just when I go back to the voice memos that you sent me of how what this album meant to you, how it really is you putting yourself out there in a not just in like a literal sense of like putting your like work out there, it's like putting your heart out there. And in today's world that's such a scary thing to do. So when I listen to your to the entirety of the album, from the songs that were sexual to the songs that were like even the songs that were sexual, you have like when you think about the very act of like any sexual concept, it's intimacy. Intimacy is vulnerability.
It was
So
so
it's just
to do those songs because I felt like I grew up doing music. Like it's what it's my family. It's what I know.
yeah.
My grandfather, he has been a musician since I've been a kid. Like on my dad's side of the family, like there's a bunch of singers in church, and it kind of just took me from being 15 years old and like having a small following back in my hometown of Erie, Pennsylvania, where it was like people would. I used to work at Burger King as a kid. You're a boy. Why do you have your nails done? And this little girl, she's like 6 years old, and it started here. Well, it didn't start there. It actually started in preschool with the following. But like this is when I started to realize who I was. And she goes, "You're a boy. Why do you have your nails done?" And I was like, "Because I like them. I want my nails done." And she was like, "Okay," and walked away. Had no other questions. Then that family always came back to my specific Burger King, and they would just be so kind to me. And people would come to there, and they would be like, "That's Adrian back there singing his face off for no reason while making a freaking Whopper, right?" And that was my life. And so I was nervous about writing sexual songs because I'm like, I feel like most of the people that know me from back home were a younger audience. But when I moved to LA,
Mhm.
a lot of the people that started following me were like people my age or people older than me. And I was like conflicted as to, I'm like, how do I give both audiences something that I think would help me grow? And I decided to start from the dark and fade right into the light and still give, something else. But I appreciate you saying that about Temporary Bliss because it really was one of those songs that after listening to it, I like had a small anxiety attack. I was like, oh God, I'm like, people are gonna think I'm this or I'm that, or I overthought it entirely too much, but I learned.
I mean, we will always have those thoughts. I every time I put out a poem, I get nervous about that. Every time I even tweet about something, I get nervous about that. The nervousness is we can't compare one another, but It's something that, you know, occurs in all of us, especially as creators. But your music, your lyrics, what I've heard, especially the sexual pieces, they helped me understand like sexuality itself in a new light, just because I didn't think of it before as something so vulnerable, because I'm asexual, so so I never thought of it, you know, in that perspective. But then when I listen to your songs, to your stories, it it became something so I guess revealing in a heart wrenching emotional way, and you know that's amazing. And I that's why I loved everything that I listened to.